Okay. Huh? That's wasabi. That's fresh wasabi. Oh my god. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Today, Lynn and I finally got to visit Tsukiji Market, the largest outdoor fish market in the world. It's a place that's been near the top of my travel bucket list for many years, and the country that's been at the top of my travel bucket list for most of my adult life. And it did not disappoint. From top to bottom, the market is filled with the most exquisite array of seafood I've ever laid eyes upon, including Gojira-sized shellfish, the freshest and best sushi you can get, a surprising amount of non-seafood items, and anything else you can and can't imagine. Also, it's worth mentioning that throughout the entire market, there was no fishy odor at all, which is pretty miraculous considering the hundreds of vendors selling their wares and the absolute breadth of seafood on display. If you're in Japan and you're a seafood lover, Tsukiji Market is a must-stop. Surprisingly, there was also a lot of options for you non-meat and meat accessories eating folks out there. A whole row of stands had a plethora of leaves, roots, and sticks on offer. All joking aside, most of the vegetarian food did actually look delicious, though I had no intention of trying anything this time around. Gotta save space for the weird and squirmy.
We could definitely split one of those, you know? That's double stacked. There's like 2 layers of it too. Oh, that's a mistake, but we'll take that one. Some kind of like fish eggs. They look like sausage. Oh, wow, it's so soft.
After much oohing and eyeing, Lynn and I finally decided to pop our Tsukiji Market cherries at this stand with giant grilled scallops. These beautiful bivalves come in 3 different size options: small, medium, and scary big. I opted for medium, which is about $10 US, and they grill your scallop over charcoal briquettes, and once it gives up the goods, it's doused with a sweet soy sauce that blends with the natural juices of the scallop to make a wonderfully fragrant and salty broth. Oh, by the way, they don't trim the scallops at all. They just cut them into 4 quadrants using scissors, so you get to taste all their nasty bits as well, which, unsurprisingly, were pretty damn tasty. As for the scallop itself, it was incredibly fresh, sweet and tender with a little bit of brininess to remind you what it is and where it came from, and was absolutely perfect with the sauce. What did you think, Lynn?
That was so good.
Yeah. $20 grapes, $10 strawberries. Look at this! Oh my god!
We then stumbled upon this incredible Wagyu beef stand, which is widely considered the world's best beef due to its sublime flavor and unbelievably buttery texture. Some of these skewers were also topped off with fresh uni too, a true collision of opulence and over-the-top luxury. We actually didn't try these here as we were a little skittish from the price, but don't worry, we get our Wagyu fix another day.
It is, right? The little shiso leaf and the wasabi.
And here I was selected from a writhing throng of hundreds to participate in this Tamagoyaki demonstration. Okay, it was more like 6, and I volunteered. Still, it was super fun to get up there and demonstrate my Japanese omelet making skills. The host was extremely friendly, patient, and even fake laughed at my cheesy jokes, almost as much as I did, which I appreciated. At the end, you get to keep your culinary concoction too, and I must say, mine did turn out looking pretty sweet, much to the crowd's and my host's surprise. Unfortunately,
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like the sweetness.
It's too sweet?
No. It's weird. Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan.
Why is it so sweet?
Right?
It's really sweet.
No arigato.
finally, it was lunchtime. With a quick Google search, we found one of the highest rated sushi restaurants in the market and headed there for a proper meal. As expected, what we got was one of the freshest, most delicious, and gorgeous chirashi bowls we've ever seen. It had a diverse array of seafood, including shrimp, salmon, tuna, squid, mackerel, various types of roe, and even some tamagoyaki, which I didn't hate this time. Amazing. Back home they say, there's always room for dessert. It's an expression that's become something of a battle cry for me. But in Japan, the saying goes, there's always room for grilled eel. Alright, they don't, but I do, and you should too. This gear was only a few dollars and was perfectly smoky, sweet, and tender. Get it. Mochi is easily one of my favorite desserts in Japan, and when you can get them freshly made, there's nothing else quite like it. Sweet and sticky with a chewy, almost dough-like consistency, this one had a perfectly ripe strawberry on top as well as a sweet strawberry paste inside. As a bonus, it's dusted with a generous coating of cocaine, which is why it's hard to stop at just one. It's the ideal way to finally end your food bender. Situated right outside the market is Tsukiji Hongwanji Temple, where Lynn and I headed to rest our trotters and digest for a little bit. And although we didn't get to spend a lot of time here, it was a nice place to reflect and relax while taking in the beautiful architecture and serenity. To put it into context, Ginza is like New York City's Fifth Avenue in Tokyo. Everything is incredibly high-end and luxurious and beautiful, including the Uniqlo flagship store, which is 14 floors tall. We also visited a very fancy pants mall and went straight to the floor that offered food, where we were greeted by a veritable wonderland of the tastiest pastries I've seen yet on my trip. Obviously, I indulged in a couple choice options as well as a handful of free samples, and then we relaxed for a bit on the beautiful rooftop terrace located at the top floor of the mall. dinner, we stopped by a tendon place and was served this mound of beautifully crunchy and surprisingly light vegetables and shrimp tempura, perched atop a bowl of chewy udon noodles in a deep, umami-rich seafood broth. Absolute perfection.
Cross here and then cross over there. And we'll meet in front of Lakute.
Halloween in Japan is absolute madness in the best possible way, especially in Shibuya Prefecture where all the weirdness is fully embraced and encouraged. Imagine you're an ant in a colony of tens of thousands just milling about already in a state of controlled chaos, and then some jerk human decides to pour some pop rocks and soda down your anthole. That's what Halloween in Shibuya felt like, and it's one of the craziest spectacles I've ever been a part of. Every street was bustling with drunk, costumed revelers getting their Halloween on, and the energy was just electric. Funny enough, despite all the chaos, in typical Japanese fashion, there was very little misbehavior to speak of. Except at one point when a belligerent older man, who I'm pretty sure was ex-Yakuza, was making a scene in the streets and even threatening the police by throwing bags of stuff at their feet and screaming at them right in their faces. Curiously, the cops didn't really do anything, and all their efforts to calm him down were completely ineffective. Eventually, he noticed me staring at him and made his way over to me gesturing and screaming. I didn't flinch, and I guess he didn't like my vibe because he eventually moved on while his companion apologized to me profusely with deep bows at the waist. Unfortunately, I wasn't filming at the time, but I do have plenty of footage of people hanging out. Enjoy! We ended our night by going to an all-you-can-drink sake bar. This place has an amazing selection of over 30 different sakes from very dry to very fruity, and you're given 2 all-you-can-drink options to choose from. Unfortunately, we arrived about 45 minutes before closing time, so we opted for the 30-minute option, which allows you to sample as much as you want for about $15 US. Needless to say, we definitely got our money's worth. I think I had about 18 shots of sake that night, which probably equates to about 6 to 8 shots of non-sake liquor, which is pretty amazing for $15. I would definitely recommend this place if you're into sake or even if you're just sake curious. The selection is vast, the price is right, and the sake is on point. And with that, our Halloween night in Shibuya came to a close. Over the next couple of days, we head to Kyoto, but more on that next time. Beast Mode out.
See what you got there. Very nice. You got like a teriyaki glaze on it. Eat that shit.